In today's show, we're taking a look at the next 3 days for fantasy basketball and how to stream to win your league. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. So what we're doing, we have got 4 days left. Well, 5 I guess if you include Wednesday's games, but we're trying to look ahead here to the rest of the NBA season, rest of the NBA regular season. So what we're going to look at is streaming option for points leagues and category leagues for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm not going to include Sunday in that because literally every team plays. And when we do a what to watch for video for Sunday, that's when we'll do a specific category streamer for every category for that one day, rather than including it in this year because it is a very different scenario when every team plays. So we're looking at how you can get the best value in Yahoo points, ESPN points, and all of the standard 8 categories over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday period. Half the league plays 2 games in that time. The other half plays 1 game in that time. So that's important to note as well. And remember, there's no team that plays a Friday, Saturday back-to-back. That is important for you to note. All right. Yahoo points leagues. Let's look at some players to add. The Toronto Raptors have, and you're going to see this name a lot, the Toronto Raptors have 2 games in these 3 days, and I don't think there's any chance that Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, apparently now Chris Boucher as well, I don't think there's any chance that these dudes play. They have the 2 games, the Thursday, Friday back-to-back. It's on the road. I don't think there's any way that these guys play. So Malachi Flynn, he's going to be starting. He's going to be getting good minutes. Ken Birch, he's going to be starting. He's going to be getting good minutes. Gary Trent Jr.,
2 for 2.
Nope, wrong one.
Nice, Gary!
He's going to be starting. He's going to be getting good minutes. He's probably not going to be shooting well, but that can go up and down. But these guys in Yahoo points leagues, there's a lot of value. Now, I could be wrong. And we know that Lowry and VanVleet have already been ruled out, and Siakam and Anunoby and Boucher, they've already been ruled out for Thursday. So you're getting at least 1 really strong game from these blokes. I think you're going to get 2, because I don't think those guys are going to play on the Friday. So I could be wrong with that, but that's how I see it going, and I think there's good value in them. Ivica Zubac in the Clippers, Serge Ibaka probably won't be back during these 2 games, so he's going to have that opportunity. They have the Thursday, Friday against Charlotte and Houston, which is a great back-to-back for centers, and Zubac is going to be a good option there. While Denver, they have the Thursday, Friday as well against Minnesota and Detroit, so Facu Campazzo. We know that Monty Morris is going to be limited in these games. Will Barton's probably going to be out in both of these games as well, so Campazzo is going to play 30+ and provide some pretty good value for us. Let's look at ESPN points leagues. Some similar names. Flynn, Birch, and Trent are there. Campazzo's there as well. Nerlens Noel, staggeringly, is rostered in 20% of ESPN leagues. I can't explain why that is. I don't know. I don't know half the shit that goes on over at ESPN, but 20% of leagues? Is nobody paying attention over there? Is everyone playing a league where blocks aren't a category or steals aren't a category? Or you're all playing points leagues where they don't matter? I don't get it in the slightest. But the Knicks have 2 games, Thursday, Saturday. Nerlens Noel is available for 80% of you. Add him. I don't know what the hold up is. Go and add him along with those other 4 guys. Category league streaming. Let's have a look at how we're going to benefit our points category. Malachi Flynn, a name I've brought up plenty of times. Lonnie Walker in San Antonio. 2 games for the Spurs. Walker's going to start. He's going to take shots. He's going to hit some shots. He's going to score some points. Dwayne the Shart Bacon. Again, he's going to start. He's going to take shots. He's going to do sweet FA else. But that's fine. We're looking at influencing the points category. Malik Monk, a little bit more iffy for Monk. But we know the opportunity is going to be there for him to play 20+ minutes. And we know he's not afraid to shoot. So he's in the mix. And then if you want to get a little bit deeper, Jalen Harris in Toronto. He's played 20+ minutes, I think, in the last 3 games. He's shown some flashes of some scoring, a few other things there as well. And with all of those absences once again, including, and this is not a light thing to mention, Paul Watson and Rodney Hood aren't playing. Because that gives all those backup minutes to Jalen Harris. So he is an option, behind these other guys, but he is an option to add. Threes, Pat Mills, 2 games for the Spurs. Jay Crowder, an absolute no-brainer add. I think for these 2 games for the Suns, he's going to hit threes. He's going to be, we know what he's like.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
He's got 2 games. He's absolutely worth it. Malachi Flynn again there. Austin Rivers with 2 games for the Nuggets. Maybe he starts. He probably does the next 2 games. And you're going to have 4 or 5 threes from him in these 2. And then Lonnie Walker again for San Antonio. For rebounds, Dwight Howard. Whether Embiid plays or not, Howard can still produce good rebound numbers. They do have the Magic on Friday. I imagine that's a game that Embiid, it is a back-to-back, Thursday, Friday. It is a game I do imagine Embiid has a chance of sitting. So Howard's an option there. Fred Gillespie, Boucher's out. Gillespie's going to have to be the primary backup center and play power forward minutes. He's a pretty good rebounder. I like that. JaMychal Green for Denver. Been playing 20-plus minutes pretty regularly, actually, and producing some nice numbers. So I like that. Taj Gibson, we know he's going to get his minutes. And Jared Vanderbilt in Minnesota. Doesn't matter whether he starts or comes off the bench. There's enough there to be a rebound-type specialist. Assists. Let's go to the same bloke again, Malachi Flynn. But let's also look at Rajon Rondo with the Clippers in their 2 games. He could have 12 to 13 assists in these 2 games. Tomas Satoransky. Last game was pretty rough for Satoransky, but I don't imagine that he's a 10-minute-a-night player from here on out. 2 more games to the Bulls. They're trying to fool themselves that they can get into the play-in. I think Satoransky is going to play 20 regardless, and maybe there is 10 assists in those 2 games for him. Cameron Payne's been very impressive this season. He's got 2 more games. Could he be a 5 assist per game player over those 2? Sure. And then Killian Hayes is an interesting one because the Pistons only have the 1 game, but it is hard to find assists on a waiver wire, and Hayes would probably play 35 minutes. He could have 7 or 8 assists in that 1 game, which is maybe more than some other guys get in 2 games. Steals. Guys, Malachi Flynn. Stanley Johnson, who's going to be starting for the Raptors. Now, he doesn't do anything else, but he can have 2 steals a game. That's a possibility. Jared Vanderbilt, another good steals guy. DeAndre Bembry in Toronto is going to get a pretty decent run. He's a good steals and a decent assist player there as well. And Austin Rivers has been pretty solid at generating steals for the Denver Nuggets, and he's going to get pretty significant minutes in the 2 games that he plays. For blocks, it is back to Dizzy Gillespie again. Bismack Biyombo will probably continue starting for Charlotte. Goga, Badadze, the Dart.
Problem with my Gogo-mobile. Gogo-mobile? No, not the Dart. Not the Dart.
Jaden McDaniels of the Minnesota Timberwolves and his teammate Naz Reid can also be options for blocks with their 2 games coming up in this little stretch of time in this 3-game period. If you are looking for parts for your car, though, why would you go anywhere else except for rockauto.com? Why would you travel in your car to a big box auto store only for the guy behind the counter to ask you what part you need? You tell him and he looks it up on his computer. He doesn't have it in stock because there's just so many parts and pieces and makes and models around these days. And then he orders it and it costs you way more than what it would if you went to rockauto.com. Rockauto.com is a family business serving auto parts customers online for 20 years. Go to rockauto.com to shop for auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. And best of all, the prices at rockauto.com are always reliably low and they are the same for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. Why would you spend up to twice as much for the same parts? Go to rockauto.com right now and see all of the parts available for your car or truck and write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Okay, field goal percentage. Who's going to influence us there? Taj Gibson with the Knicks. Really, really high field goal percentage guy. Solid minutes. Good opportunity there. Drew Eubanks in San Antonio. Dwight Howard for Philadelphia. Jared Vanderbilt in Minnesota. And Jackson Hayes, which is a little bit dependent on Steven Adams, but still worth having and worth rostering. He is available in more than 50% of leagues, which is a little surprising given how well he's played. But I guess there's a lot of leagues or a lot of teams that are inactive at this point in the season. And lastly, we look at free throw percentage. The Shark, Dwayne Bacon, a couple of Knicks guys who've missed the last games, but I believe they're on track to return Thursday. Emmanuel Quickley and Alec Burks, 2 really good free throw percentage guys. Pat Mills is in the mix there as well, as is Jordan Poole for the surging Golden State Warriors. Poole is a very good free throw shooter there too. Guys, that will do it for today's show. Don't forget, follow this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. While on YouTube, hit thumbs up, hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell and drop your comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.